Okay, so the original plan for the Warhammer stuff moving forward was I was actually going to do the not Warhammer, I was going to do a Space Marine 2 video on the Siege update that dropped a couple days ago. Unfortunately, and you'll see some footage in the background, it's very choppy right now. I don't know if that's frame rate issues or if that's kind of latency issues, but the moment the first wave started, and I actually jumped into a game that was already ongoing, so they're already at wave 5. The moment the next wave started, it got really choppy for me. I don't know if if the recording is going to pick it up. Sometimes the recording will pick up the latency issues and the lag issues. Sometimes it doesn't, although it's usually good at picking up those issues. There are a couple times where the game actually froze, so I wasn't able to actually do anything as far as getting something going and posting something about that update. I was looking forward to the Siege update. I haven't played Space Marine 2 in a while just because, you know, the updates are slow, and when it finally got around time to releasing the Siege update, I was all for it. I jumped into it, but it's very choppy right now, so the experience is not great. So I do have to wait. I'll probably wait another week or so and see if maybe those issues kind of solves itself, or maybe there's going to be a hot fix coming in. I'm not too sure. So for now, all I can do is do my second video, because I actually had 2 videos planned to come out before the end of this week, and they were both going to be Warhammer. I figured it best to kind of post some more Warhammer stuff while waiting for some things to finalize with Marvel Rivals. But for now, all I can do is just one of the 2 Warhammer videos, which is the Darktide one, because obviously with Space Marine 2, I'm having some performance issues. It's not too bad. I might go back and look at it again, maybe possibly after I've uploaded this video, or maybe tomorrow. I don't know. We'll see. I know that usually when it comes down to performance and latency issues with Space Marine 2, they actually do a good job of getting that stuff sorted out quickly. So maybe it was just a day one thing. Doesn't feel like I'll have to wait long for it. Alright, so it's been a week or so since the release of the Arbites DLC, released on Monday, earlier this week. I'm going to make some tweaks to this follow-up review, what I like so far and what needs to be improved. To start, the main issue was the DLC being a paid DLC when it was promised that the first 4 classes post-launch of Darktide were supposed to be free. This did cause the reviews over on Steam to be mixed. Since the dust has settled, the reviews seem to have calmed down a little and have now moved over from a mixed review to a mostly positive review. Frankly, I still believe the DLC is worth it, especially if you've played the game since day one and have been wanting a new class. 3 years in, I feel like we were a little more than overdue for a new class, as it feels the game is finally starting to make that push it's been waiting for, and I know the community has also been waiting for. To quickly summarize before moving on, the DLC added 4 new weapons. 2 of them are melee and 2 of them are ranged, to offer some good versatility and can synergize with certain talents, just like with the vanilla classes. The Arbitrator with a whole new talent tree, the Cyber Mastiff that adds a new layer of playstyle options and cosmetics that have more of that professional look, as opposed to the hand-me-down prison guard kit bash looking cosmetics that the vanilla classes have. But the current set of new armor available for the vanilla classes are actually quite amazing, as well as some of the new weapon skins are a vast improvement over what we've been seeing the past 3 years. The new weapons are some of the best so far. I have been using the Exterminator shotgun non-stop, and in my opinion is the best shotgun. It offers 2 patterns, one meant for close combat and the other a slug variant at the cost of a smaller magazine count. The special shells also add an extra layer of combat strategy. Mark III pattern, which is the default shotgun, uses special shells that adds electrical damage, while the Mark VIII pattern uses special shells that adds rending, which increases armor penetration. Makes dealing with armored and carapace enemies easier to defeat, and usually when you're doing high intensity gauntlet modifiers, specifically the shock trooper variant, having the extra rending option never hurts. But it's also a good pattern to use when dealing with high intensity modifiers that also bring in tons of more ranged enemies, specifically the snipers and the gunners. You have good options to choose from in your loadout. The shield and the shot pistol offers the best of both worlds, allowing you to fire while holding up the shield, making it easier to deal with distant ranged enemies like gunners and snipers. If you're in a tight spot, the alternate fire is a basic shield bash that allows for a quick follow-up shot with your pistol, kind of in the same vein as with the bolt pistol, where the alternate fire is actually a quick little pushback, but you can also quickly fire it up. You can quickly follow it up with a gunshot, which is actually a pretty fun little combo to do with the bolt pistol in particular. Kind of gives you that same feeling when you're using the shot pistol and the shield. Now, when aiming with the shot pistol, your shield automatically comes out at a slight angle, but not obstructing your view. When you're out of ammo, though, the shield will then be brought up fully in front of you, like it would be normally, like any other shield in the game. I never noticed if shooting with the pistol versus being out of ammo and having the shield directly in front of you affects your stamina drain as you're blocking attacks. If anything, the shield is directly placed in front of you. It's probably just a visual indicator that you're out of ammo and you have to reload your pistol, but it is a nice little detail that they do to the game. Rather than just dropping your shield when you're out of ammo, it automatically puts it in front of your face. Now, in my opinion, the subductor shield and the pistol probably is an indicator. Maybe this is just a kind of like a speculation type thing, that we'll probably see maybe like a shredder pistol or bolt pistol or the snub nose revolver, just any of the other one-handed weapons, mostly the pistol caliber weapons in the game. Hopefully we can see them being used with future shields. Maybe I wouldn't mind if every class had its own version of a shield, but it would be better to see pistol variants being able to be used with the shield, kind of give them some more purpose. I don't see a whole lot of people using the snub nose pistol, the revolver, whatever it's called. I don't really use it either, and I don't see a whole lot of people using the shredder pistol either. Granted, the shredder pistol is not the greatest for high levels of play, but it would be nice to give it some fresh air, so to speak, give it some more purpose, and pair it up with a shield. I think it would be a nice touch. Or dual wield. I know we could see some dual wielding weapons here at some point. The shot pistol only carries 6 rounds, just like the snub nose revolver, but hey, if we can make it a dual wield, I mean, that would be fun. Kind of just my opinion. Now, if you decide to trade the pistol for a club, also trades the alt fire for a flashbang that quickly recharges over time, but recharges faster when blocking attacks. This is the subductor pistol and the maul. It quickly became my favorite melee weapon because it's probably the most versatile shield and sword type weapon that we'll ever see in the game, at least at this point. A maul with good AoE swings and an alternate fire that activates a flashbang from the shield to stun enemies in a small radius, and blocking with the shield actually doesn't drain a whole lot of stamina. It's worth noting that the Arbitrator has a few talent nodes in the talent tree that's tailored around blocking attacks, offering a potential playstyle that makes you into quite the tank and virtually have invincible stamina when paired with a celerity stem. One of the things I have noticed in particular is players don't use any of the other stems available besides the Medicae stem. Granted, the Medicae stem is a pretty powerful stem to have. The celerity stem now has a lot more purpose with the Arbitrator because of how the talent tree has set in place a lot of the talent nodes that allow you to increase your block efficiency and your stamina efficiency. And of course, pair that up with the curios that you can find that can also increase your stamina or give you decreased stamina drain. There's a lot of options now, so the celerity stem probably is the better option for an Arbitrator if you're using the shock maul and you're tailored around staying tanky. This isn't to say it's a detraction from the Ogren, who can also use the maul and the shield. I just think the Arbitrator has a little bit more variety or a little bit more options within the talent nodes to actually make him a little bit more of a tank than even the Ogren can with the maul and the shield variant. Or that could just be me saying that some of the talent nodes were cleverly reworded to make it seem like it's unique to the Arbitrator, when in fact some of those talent nodes might actually be a shared talent node with the Ogren. I know that there's one talent node in particular, I can't remember which one it is, but it's basically a copy and paste of Blazing Piety, which is a talent node unique to the Zealot. So who knows, probably there is a couple talent nodes in there that also share some characteristics with the Ogren talent tree. I'll have to go and look at that, but I'm not too familiar with the Ogrens to actually try and do like a deep dive into those talents. Now, the last of the new weapons is the Arbites Shock Maul. It's a pretty standard maul, but offers an alternate fire which actually adds electrical attacks that can be used as normal attacks, so there is no charge up time, there is no one time per swing or one swing per time use or whatever. It's nothing like that. You can actually just use it as an alternate combo, which is actually pretty neat. We don't have very many weapons where you can actually just use the alternate fire as a secondary type of attack or combo string or whatever, but it gives you some combos to work with, as well as pairing up really nicely with the special shells from the Mark III Exterminator shotgun pattern, the version that actually has electrical damage in it. So when pairing that with talent nodes that give you increased damage to enemies who are currently electrified, it's actually a really good way to kind of, again, when I mentioned earlier, the synergy between some of these weapons makes for some further enhancements to your playstyle. As for the Cyber Mastiff, it brings a level of play that actually makes missions easier. The biggest quip with them is that they're invincible, so you don't have to worry about maintaining their health. You can send them to go knock back a pox burster and have it explode right on top of the Mastiff, and they won't get knocked back or take damage. In fact, there's a penance where you need to knock back pox bursters using your companion. So one neat addition to the Mastiff is that they can save you after being pounced by a pox hound. So instead of having to just sit and wait there until a teammate can rescue you, your doggy will knock the hound off you. This makes dealing with the pox hound modifier easier, and they can't pounce your companion either. So you don't have to worry about reviving them or saving them if they get ledged or anything like that. You don't have to worry about them at all. Just let them do their thing and you'll be fine, which is contrary to what the actual lore is behind the Cyber Mastiffs. Unfortunately, in Warhammer lore, they are lobotomized dogs. They're basically treated like Imperial Guard. They're just cannon fodder. They're expendable. But here in Darktide, they have a lot more purpose to that. They're not expendable. You don't lose them. They don't revive themselves or anything like that. They're invincible. And you know, that's kind of a nice little touch. There will be times, however, when you've been pounced by a pox hound, but your Mastiff has kind of ignored you. This is because you do have a talent node that can be unlocked where your Mastiff will prioritize specialists without you having to mark them. There's also another talent node where they'll prioritize ranged enemies. I've been pounced by a pox hound and only to see my Mastiff running towards a specialist, taking them out, and then running back to save me. But still, it's not enough to a point where you're taking in so much corruption that it feels like it's taking forever. Sometimes, depending on the enemy and the difficulty that you're in, the Mastiff can or cannot kill him almost instantly and then help you out, but still, kind of just keep that in mind. I don't know if it's a bug, that's kind of, or maybe that's just kind of like a priority thing, but either way, it's still not too bad and not too noticeable. It should also be noted that your companion obviously can't help you if you've been downed or ledged. Those still require a teammate to save you in those situations. However, when you're currently downed waiting for a revive, your companion is still putting in work and taking out enemies in your immediate vicinity, so he's not instantly disabled or anything like that, or just looking at you while you're waiting to be revived. He's still doing his part and taking out enemies and whatnot. You also have the option to opt out of running with a Mastiff as part of a keystone ability, but you get bonuses such as extra charge to your blitz ability, which essentially gives you 2 charges. While it is an option presented to you, removing the Mastiff does take away a key part of the Arbitrator's overall kit. The opposite of this, however, is an aura skill that turns your Mastiff into a squad mate. This means that you'll constantly be in coherency and always keeping a constant coherency buff, more so if you have a build centered around coherency. I did mention in the previous video that, and I kind of misworded it, that the Mastiff automatically counts as a squad mate, so you're always in coherency. I misworded that because it's actually a talent node that you unlock. It's a keystone ability in which it turns your Mastiff into a squad mate. So essentially, if all 4 arbiters in your party are all using that skill, then that essentially turns your 4-man squad into an 8-man squad, which means it's coherency everywhere. Now let's talk about the story and how the Arbites fit into it. So as it stands, from a chronological standpoint, the Arbites are introduced after the main Darktide story, which is the battle for Tertium. While you do have the option to play the story from the beginning as an arbitrator, it just doesn't make sense because all the mission briefings and character dialogue from the Morningstar crew still talks and treats you, a member of the Adeptus Arbites, as if you're one of the vanilla class rejects. The only time you feel like you're an authority figure is in the introduction when we see Proctor Exactant Zoran, who's the leader of the Arbites, making his way onto the Morningstar along with his arbitrators and giving you the debrief on why they're there on the ship to begin with.
Sir. You summoned me.
You have failed me, Ivan. All this time and still Atoma is not secured.
No one is more disappointed than I. There have been complications.
No more excuses. My time is running out.
So is yours.
What do you mean?
Atoma was always under Marshal Fortin's jurisdiction. You have exhausted his patience. He has sent forces to restore the tithe.
You have failed your duty. We have all failed. Atonement will come only when the tide is restored. We shall triumph in the names of our fallen, and of those who still uphold the Lex. This is the Marshal's command. This is how it shall be. This is the will of the Lex.
He doesn't have the authority.
He speaks for holy law. That is his authority. He will test you.
Do not fail me again.
When do they arrive?
Right. So what's all this then?
So this is the Morning Star. Atoma's last great hope. I am not impressed. Inquisitor Grindel's reach greatly exceeds his grasp. Still, Marshal Vorturn has ordered that we offer every assistance to this cause. We shall set an example to these individuals. We shall remind them what it is to serve the Emperor, rather than an Inquisitor's veiled agenda. But first, avail yourself of the Psychanium facilities. Refresh your combat skills. We must none of us be found wanting.
Unfortunately, after that, that's the last time we ever hear of Zoran. You can hear him every now and then when you come up to him while he's just lounging in the Morningstar. Otherwise, he has no more dialogue after that. This is where part of the DLC does fall short, and it's just that none of the mission briefings as an Arbiter are from Zoran. They still come from the core Darktide characters like Hadron, Moro, Zola, etc., where they still talk to you as if you were a reject rather than talking to you in a way that respects your position as an arbitrator. There is, however, unique dialogue between the Arbites as well as when playing with a reject, but no new dialogue between the Arbites and members of the Morningstar crew. Vendors on the ship also don't have unique dialogue with an arbitrator, so it's the same stuff you've always heard. So while we look the part of a police force, we aren't treated the part of a police force except for the prologue and introductory cutscene. As we move on, I can only assume that future story additions to Darktide will be focused around the Arbiters, with future mission debriefings by Zoran if playing an Arbiter, but I will go as far as to say that I'm hoping to not see future events that require the Arbites class, for the simple fact that every event Darktide has had have all been part of free updates and that everyone can participate in, but that's only assuming we ever see a future event where we could potentially be class locked. Overall, if you're a new player just starting, you don't have to get the DLC right away. The 4 vanilla classes have more than enough content to keep you busy for a while, and down the line the Arbites DLC might eventually start going on sale and you can pick it up then, or you can just get it now. Regardless, it's worth it, as I've said before. Just as long as we don't see future classes behind a paywall, I still want to see the next class be part of a free update. It's pretty obvious that I do want to see future story content expand the Arbites. The momentum the DLC provided would fall flat on its face if this is all we'll ever see. In a sense, this does feel like the Morningstar might start seeing more and more support make its way to Tertium from the Imperium and not just keep it relegated to a rogue trader vessel. This would mean a lot more opportunities for story content moving forward, so long as it begins with expanding on the Arbites. But what do you guys think? What do you want to see in future updates for Darktide? What kind of classes you want to see? What kind of weapons you want to see? So let me know down in the comments below. Always love reading them. Until then, I'll see you on the next video.